Hello, everybody. It might be good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where we are, where you are. I know that we have candidates coming from all over the world, including Europe, North America, South America, Africa, Asia, Australia. So that we're excited to have you all on board. We're just going to wait for a few minutes until we start the session, just to make sure that everyone that registers gets a chance to join. So we'll be starting in a few minutes. And just to let you know that we have a Q&A corner. So if you want to include your questions, you're more than welcome to include that in the chat of the Q&A. Nonetheless, we'll be having a Q&A at the end anyway. So yeah, if you want to just wait until the end, or if there's something that you already want to mention, you can already include in the Q&A. Okay, great. I think we can start now. And I'm going to be sharing with you some slides. So let us know. Please write in the Q&A if you cannot see the slide, but we'll be going through the material. So welcome once again to the REDI information session for applicants. This is for the call to for the REDI program. And before we start, as a tradition, actually this is really important because RMIT, which is based in Melbourne, Australia, we wanted to do an acknowledgement of the country, especially for the indigenous people of Wurundjeri from the Kulin Nations, the Aboriginal tradition owners of Melbourne. And whenever we meet in Melbourne, we do say this welcome. So yes, we just wanted to say, Wominjeka, welcome to the session. And before we start, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Key, and I am the Senior Program Manager for the REDI program. And I'll be your main speaker for today. Okay, so the agenda for today, we'll talk about what's REDI, and then move on to eligibility, which I'm sure that's the reason you're in this session. We'll talk about how to apply, and then the recruitment timeline. And at the end, we'll do some Q&A, and hopefully we'll be able to cover all the questions that you may have. So what's REDI? I'm sure that you're here because you've heard about it, you read about it, you have some more information. So this will be something basic, perhaps for you if you've done extensive research about REDI. But REDI is a global PhD training program for early researchers. And we are recruiting over 40 positions from the different calls that we have. Just to let you know, it is co-funded by the European Union, RMIT University, and more than 30 industry and academic partners. And so it is a very, let's say, extensive project or program that allows these young researchers to engage in professional development and to prepare them to be full-time full researchers. And this is just a map of all the host partners that will be that you'll be located. We have over 10 partners across the EMEA region, and of course, for the second, then you will be going to Melbourne, Australia. So why REDI as a candidate? Why would you be interested even in applying? There's a lot of advantages that we see that can provide you and equip you to be a great researcher in the future. So you will have an opportunity to enroll as a PhD candidate at RMIT, and mostly, in also most cases, you'll be able to earn a dual degree from another host partner institution. We'll be sharing with you all the institutions momentarily. And again, you'll have life-changing experience, including secondment in Melbourne, but also having training workshop weeks in Barcelona. And another factor that we want to promote is that you'll be part of this global network global network of researchers across the world, not just the supervisors, but also with your cohort, other industry partners. So it will be giving you a chance to have more exposure in the research scene globally. And finally, we will help you with your professional career development through trainings, networking, different kind of workshops. And lastly, you'll be able to be involved in various innovative projects that allows you to make a global impact as a researcher, we know that that's what you're interested in. So how many positions are available? In the first call last year, we had 24 positions. This is closed already. And for today, we'll be talking more about the second call, which is already open now. It opened on March 1st, and it will be closing on April 30th. And currently, we have 20 positions that are open for this call. In the first call, we did have 24 positions with different host partners around the world, or in Europe, sorry. And this is the list of the institutions. And for the second call, we have 20 positions. Some you may be already familiar with, some not. But all the information is in the website about the host partners, who are the supervisors, what are the projects, and you can find all the information about the host partners, the position descriptions on our website. We'll be sharing with you all these information at the end too, where you can directly go to. So I think this is the main reason you're here today, eligibility. We have all these questions about, can I apply? Am I eligible? So this is very important. This is also included on our website in the guide for applicants. So there are few crucial elements that needs to be cleared to make sure that you're eligible to apply. So the first one is that you must be in the first 4 years of your research career and not have a doctoral degree or PhD, which means that basically from the time you have obtained a degree, most likely a master's, that you have not conducted more than 4 years of full-time research of your career. So this is what you would need to qualify to be an early stage researcher. The second very important criteria, of course, as Marie Curie encourages international mobility, is that you have not resided or carried out your main activity in the country where your research host is located for more than 12 months within the 3 years immediately before the call. Which means that, let's say you want to go to apply for a position based in France, you are not allowed to have lived in, let's say, France for more than 12 months within the past 3 years, immediately before the call closes. And we just want to remind you that it's not just the physical residence, but also any other full-time activity. Let's say you were doing a master's on remote master's full-time, from France, but you were based somewhere else, you will be still considered that you have been doing your full-time activity in France for 12 months. So just be careful of this situation, that this is a very important eligibility criteria that you want to make sure. And if you have any doubts, please reach out to us, so we'll check if you're eligible for this particular country or not. The third part is that you're not allowed to be permanently employed by your research host at the time of the call deadline. We do have, let's say, researchers that are working in another position and they want to apply for REDI with the same host institution. So that will not be possible if you're already permanently employed by your particular research host for the position that you want to apply. The fourth one is that you hold either a master's or bachelor's degree with honors in a discipline related to your research project, including a research component or an equivalent academic qualification. So this is all included in the guide for applicants. Don't worry. So please do read, once again, the guide for applicants and the specific position description that you're interested. And finally, of course, we would need to have English language proficiency, C1 level, and I'll talk about this more in details at the Q&A section. And lastly, there's a few other components for your eligibility. You must also fulfill all the position-specific requirements, which are outlined in the position description. Now that this is not outlined in the guide for applicants, so we highly recommend you to read the position descriptions, which are on our website as a PDF, to make sure you clear any position-specific requirements that are not mentioned in the general guide for the applicants. And the seventh one is that you must be available full-time at the preferred program start date. Currently, most programs for the call 2 are planned in September. However, this may it will be tentative depending on admissions, work visa for the country that you'll be going to. And the 8th component is that you must meet all the admissions requirement for both RMIT and the host partner that you'll be applying for. So this is all included in the position description. Once again, so we highly recommend that you read that fully a few times to make sure that you are eligible for all these as well. And lastly, in case you need a work visa or study visa for that particular country, you need to make sure that you mostly the nationality that you are able to apply for the work visa or study visa if that is necessary. So once again, as highlighted in red, we really encourage you to read the position description carefully as everything is outlined here as a complement for the guide of applicants, which is a general description for all the positions. So of course, as a Marie Curie program, we highly encourage different researchers to apply, especially female researchers, or if you're experiencing financial hardship or have a disability or have a refugee status. So we want to encourage and promote equality and to give chances to many researchers as much as possible. So don't hesitate. And if you have any specific questions, reach out to us on this matter. So another important part, how to apply. So I'm sure you have already visited our website a few times. So where to apply? So if you go to our website, rediprogram.eu, under open vacancies, if you go to for applicants section, you can scroll down to see where the vacant open positions are. Then you can find this link where it says apply here now for the call that's going on right now. And I just want to mention that this is applicable for all the position, 19 position, except for the UCPH Denmark, which must be made through another portal. So I'll be explaining to you that in the next slide. So this applies to all the 19 position except for the UCPH Denmark, which has a different process. So for all the other positions, when you click on this, you will be directed to another application portal, and here you will be able to see the apply now. And once you make an account, you'll be able to see that there we have 3 programs, which is actually the same program. And the reason why we have it is because you are allowed to apply to up to 3 positions. However, you must make a separate application for the position you are applying for. That's why it looks like we have 3 programs, but it's in fact it's just to use that to make sure that the applicants apply to each position separately, and you can apply to up to 3 positions available. So that is for all the 19 positions that I mentioned about. So quickly recapping how to apply for UCPH Denmark. So when you go on to inside our website, when you go to the position description website, or actually our web page for this UCPH Denmark position, if you scroll down, you can see that there's a link directly to the site that allows you to apply. So when you click on this Danish portal link, PhD Fellowship in Innovation Management, then you will be directed directly to this University of Copenhagen website job portal. So here, we encourage you to read everything in detail because it has a little bit of different process and required documents from the guide of applicants. So please note that for USPH Denmark, that you must follow all the mandatory documents that are mentioned in this website. And then if you scroll down, there's Apply Now button, but make sure that you cover all the required documents that are indicated on this University of Copenhagen job portal website. Okay, so before applying to REDI, of course, once again, we're repeating again and again because this is important, but we encourage you to read the guide for applicants, of course, and there's also a frequently asked questions website page on our website and the position description. So we encourage you to read that triple time to make sure that you have everything ready. But before applying, it will be helpful if you have the following documents ready because these are the main documents that you'll be required for the REDI positions, the 19 positions that I mentioned. So first of all, it will be a scanned copy of your valid photo identification. It's either passport or national ID, but note that this is not just a photo, so please don't upload just your photo. This has to be a photo identification, which means usually it's a photo, an official, your name, your birthday, your nationality. So this is just to make sure, actually for your nationality as well, but this is what we need is a photo identification and not a photo. The second part is CV or resume. In the Americas, I know that it's called resume. So your CV or resume. Third one is a motivation letter. It will be best if you address it to the position, of course, that you're applying for, not just to general REDI, as evaluators will be looking at this and to evaluate how much you're motivated for this position. Fourth one is scanned copies of your official academic degrees and official academic transcripts. Now, it's important that these are separate files because there's one for academic degrees, one for academic transcripts. If in special cases you have problems, please reach out to us to consult how you can upload these documents. Note that this must be official and original, which means that it's usually stamped by the university register, or it is signed by the university. So it can't be something that's unofficial. And note that if your degree was not in English, that you must submit also a translation of the academic degree and transcripts. However, at the eligibility check stage right now, you can do it yourself. You don't have to have a certified translator. Nonetheless, if you are selected as a finalist at the end, during the admissions, you'll be required to submit also an official translation. So just to know that this is everything is outlined in the guide for applicants. So don't worry about taking notes at this stage. And another document that will be helpful to have is a one-page overview of your master's or other research project, and a proof of English language proficiency if it is applicable, which means that if your English is not your first language, and or if you have not graduated from, let's say, a master's that was entirely in English, it will be helpful if you have this kind of English language proficiency proof document in hand as well. And to let you know, once you submit your application, you cannot go back to change. So we recommend that if you are not sure, you can save and still come back multiple times. So please don't submit it right away. We encourage you that you save it, review it, make sure that all the documents are there. And then once you're 100% sure, to click on the submit button before making the application. Okay, so one of the last things we want to talk about before moving on to the Q&A that you're probably waiting for is about the timeline. So now we have the call to deadline open until April 30th. And once that is in place, actually, we are already starting the eligibility check on a rolling basis for candidates that had already submitted their application. So that will be going on until April, May. Then we will have the evaluation and shortlisting of the candidates. We have a panel of evaluators, including the RMIT and host partner institutions and external evaluators that will be evaluating your application in May, possibly in June. And interviews are tentatively scheduled to take place in June or July. And the final allocation of position, hopefully it will be done in June, August as well. And if all goes smoothly, we hope that the final admissions and program start will be sometime in September. But of course, this will really depend on the position and the host partners, let's say admissions process, RMIT admissions process, your work visas. So there's also a chance that it could be in October and so forth. So this is all tentative schedule, and we will be notifying candidates accordingly if there's any changes. Okay. Yes, I'm just going to quickly check if there's other questions that are coming. Thank you so much. I know there are a few questions that were submitted before, so we will try to also answer those questions. But if not, please feel free to include it in the Q&A as well. So one of the first common questions that we get is, Can I get a pre-assessment to see if I'm eligible or not? What we recommend, since we have quite a high volume of applicants for each call, and what we want to make sure is that we assess each applicant thoroughly to make sure they're eligible, and that cannot be quickly done unless it is quite obvious that the candidate is not eligible. So what we recommend is that you read the guide for applicants and also the position descriptions, and to self-assess whether you're not eligible or not. And I would say in 95% of the cases, the candidates are able to assess pretty much from what the descriptions are. Nonetheless, if you're still not sure, yes, please do reach out to us and we will try to mention, but most cases we may need more documentations, which then we may need to ask you to make an official applications for those documents. So yes, we really encourage you to read the guide for applicants and the position description. As I mentioned, there are position-specific requirements. So that if you can make a self-assessment, that will be the best way. And if still not, yes, we'll be sharing with you where you can contact us in the next slide. So please reach out afterwards. The next question we get a lot is, so what is the limit of positions I can apply for? As I mentioned earlier, so you can apply to maximum 3 positions. So this is something that what we encourage is that you really apply for the ones that you are sure that you're not just applying to any that could be, because if you're selected, we hope that you will be on board. So we encourage you, of course, to choose whichever ones you want, but it will be maximum 3 positions that you can apply for. And you have to make a separate application for each, which means, of course, separate motivation letters that will be customized per position. The third question that we get a lot is English language proficiency test. So the general rule is that, of course, if you're a native English speaker, with all the studies done in a English-speaking country, then you are exempt from this rule. Or if you have recently finished, let's say, your bachelor's or master in a program that was 100% conducted in English, and usually this has to be mentioned in your transcript that it is a full-time English program. Otherwise, sometimes it would be difficult for us to access. So if you want to make sure that your transcript or diploma mentions that it was a program that was 100% English, in that case, you will be highly likely that you'll be exempt from the English language. But we just want to make sure that this is a general rule in case there might be some exceptions. So please let us know. And in the case that none of them apply, that you're not a native English speaker, nor did you graduate from English language program for master's or bachelor's, then you will need to submit this proficiency test. Nonetheless, for the original application, it is not one of the requirements. However, you want to see if you are selected at the admissions part at RMIT and host university, this is usually a requirement. So you don't want to be waiting 3 months only to know that you need it, and now you have to study for the TOEFL, and that won't be able to happen, I think, quickly in 4 weeks time frame. So if you don't have anything, we encourage you that you already start taking your TOEFL now so that you'll be prepared. So when the time comes, then you have to present the document, that you don't start opening up a TOEFL book to start your English test. So yes, so it is required if you're not an English native speaker, nor if you haven't graduated from an English speaking master's or bachelor's program. Yes, and another question we get is, yes, I'm still completing my master's and I'm only graduating after the application deadline. Can I still apply? So the answer will really depend actually on the position. I would have to say that mostly, let's say you are graduating in May, it is highly possible that you can, let's say you're graduating this November, December, it will be highly unlikely, but I would say that you're still eligible to apply. It will be really up to the supervisor to decide whether they can wait, let's say, until that point. But as a general rule, we would say that you can still apply only if it is going to be in the recent months to come, because in that case, you will get a conditional eligible. But by the time the interviews take and admissions are happening, we will need to have the proof that you're graduating. So yes, if you're, let's say, graduating in May or June, and that you can only get all the official information later after application deadline, it will be eligible. However, if it's more a few months, let's say in the process, there'll be a chance that they will not be able to offer you because they would want to have someone who is sure that they will be graduating. So yes, you can still apply, but it will make sense only if it will be in the few months to be coming, not, let's say, 6 months or next year. Yes, and is there a checklist I can follow when I'm doing my application to make sure I'm not missing anything? Yes, so the guide of applicants, once again, is the guide. I would say the Bible, let's say, for this REDI program. So we encourage you to make sure that is the case. And of course, the position specific description. So the position descriptions have everything. And what we want to make sure is when you are on the application portal, you will see all the information there as well. So I think these three are very important. And what we mentioned for the USPH Denmark position, that what rules, I would say the most would be what's on the website for their application portal. So the position description is very important too. But for Denmark, the position, UCPH, it is a little bit a special case that we encourage you to follow what is on the website job portal page for the University of Copenhagen, and to check what is mandatory there first. Okay, a few more questions, and we'll be opening up to see if there's any other questions. So if I were successful in the first round, can I apply in the second round? So there were some candidates, I think, from the call one last year that were not, let's say, shortlisted. But if you are, then we encourage you to check out and apply. And nonetheless, just to make sure that the position, it really depends on the position. So for any candidates, we encourage you to read the position description to make sure you're eligible for the position. But yes, you will not be discarded if you were, let's say, not eligible for the call one immediately. So yes, we do encourage you still can apply for the second round. And about COVID, of course, we are respectful of your health. Your well-being is the most important. So if there's anything with COVID that affects some of the processes or even travels that will happen during the program, the REDI program will follow the national rules of traveling and the international rules related to traveling. So we will make sure that health comes first, and that we follow the general COVID guidelines that are proposed internationally and nationally. Okay. Yes. So I'm gonna try to see if there's any other questions that I believe one of my colleagues has been answering some of the questions that you had to see if there is something. As I think I see someone saying, I will quit my degree by the end of August. I won't be having a degree and transcript. So I think this will be a tricky case. We will say they won't be able to really guarantee. It really depends how strong your application is. I think as a general rule, the August will be considered a little bit late. And the reason is because most of the interviews will be taking place in June and July, and they wouldn't want to offer the position, let's say, in July and August. So the supervisor, let's say, will be taking a little bit of risk to offer a position to someone that may or may not. Yes, so I think this one, I'm just going to say that, yes, I think it was something that I think we can discuss, but I think you could, let's say, in a way, risk your chances that it could be or it could not be, but I think it would be quite tricky from position point of view. But if you're really interested in the program, and if you have a really strong profile, and if you think that you can convince the supervisors to wait until that time, that could be possible. But yes, we could also come back to you and say, unfortunately, that they have enough sufficient candidates that already had graduated in June. They want to apply. I mean, they want to offer the position in July to a candidate that is already secure. So if you're comfortable that that could happen, you can still apply. That would be something that I want to mention. Yes, if there's any other questions, I'm just going to quickly also see the questions that came in before. I think, yeah, there was a question. Yes, I'm not going to try to see the name of the applicant. I think, yeah, he said, I applied to second round, first round, can I use my submitted recommendations? And the answer is that for the second round, it will be best if you can ask, again, because it will be different position, and we recommend that all the documents like motivation letter and recommendations are geared toward the position. So we recommend, if possible, to get different recommendations. Nonetheless, it's not a mandatory document. However, it will most likely be required during the process around the interview stage. So this is something that you should probably ask again. Yes, and what's the main criteria of selection? As we mentioned, it really depends on the position, and please read the position description carefully. Yes, we have another question. Yes, so the secondment going for Australia, Melbourne, is that a requirement? Yes, so the answer will be yes. In theory, in general, we can discuss once you're selected. There might be, let's say, for specific emergency cases, family health issues, of course, of the COVID. We are respectful, of course, of these conditions. But in theory, the whole idea of this Marie Curie program is that we want you to experience international mobility. So that's why we're not making this 100% remote. There are programs, if you prefer not to, then it's 100% remote. But I think for the REDI, you must relocate, first of all, to the host partner position, whether it's in Denmark or France or Spain. So the idea is that you must be physically present in the host partner institution, and to be able to travel, let's say, to Barcelona for a week. I think it will be every year for a 5-day workshop, and to be able to go to Melbourne, which is now, I think it will be less than 12 months, but it will be a secondment time. But it will be a chance to meet, of course, all your cohort, 40 plus PhD students, but also to be able to study in Melbourne again. So yes, the idea is that we need to have students that are able to be mobile to really engage in this program. And a few other questions. Yes, about English proof, I think we covered. Yes, if you have done your master's degree International English University, yes, please provide your transcript with a line mentioning that it was 100% in English. Yes, and about the funds, yes. For that program, if you read the position description, you can see that the tuition and the living allowances are covered, and also the travel to Barcelona and travel to Melbourne according for the secondment. So please read. Everything is included about what is included, covered as part of the fees. So it will be position specific for this case. So please read the position descriptions carefully. Yes, and I think the questions. Yes, what I see is, yes, again, yeah, the English C1 level. So once again, I have to mention that, yes, it is required. However, not at the time of the application. Sometimes if you're taking a TOEFL, you need a few months, that's fine too. Unless it is for the US PH Denmark position, which requires English proof at the beginning. So this is the only exception for the REDI. It's not required. However, as I mentioned before, at the admissions stage, you will be required to present an English proof document. So at that time, if you haven't had anything, and you will be only given, let's say, 4 weeks to submit your documents, and it will be quite impossible to study and take the TOEFL or so anything. So if that's the case, we encourage you to start taking the test right now, that in case you're admitted, that you'll be able to present something at the admissions stage to prove your C1 English level. Okay, I think that was it from the questions. I am just going through also any questions that came in from the audience right now. Yes, I think I see. Okay. I think I see something. Yes, I think it was another English question. So the question was, yes, if you have done a master's from English program university, please do make sure that the transcript includes this, and that yes, then you will most likely be exempt from the English language proof. However, this will be confirmed once you submit your application. It will be confirmed with you at that stage. Okay, there's another question about this. Should we include a research proposal? And I believe it was a question that was answered, but I will also just repeat. So the research proposal, it is not. So for the 19 positions, in general, it is not a requirement at the REDI application stage. However, there are a few positions like Fifth Studio, and there's other positions that are listing this as requirement. So as a general rule, I'm talking about it is not like your application will not be immediately rejected just because you don't have this, unless it is one of the positions that mention the research project proposal as a requirement. So we highly recommend you to read the position description of each position to make sure that is not the case. And especially for the USPH position in Denmark, it is a requirement. So when you go down to the website for the USPH Denmark position, and you click on the Danish portal, it will guide you to the Danish portal of University of Copenhagen, and there you can see that it clearly mentioned that research project proposal, how long it is a requirement. So even though that is not mentioned, let's say in the guide or in a REDI, it is for the position. So that's why we want to highlight that, yes, we have a general guide, but then what really rules, let's say, the most is the position description itself. So that's why the position description, I would say, is that Bible, or is what we want you to read again to make sure that everything is covered as well. So yes, so the research project proposal really depends on the position is our answer. Nonetheless, even if you're admitted, let's say, to a position that was not initially required, at the admission stage, it is a requirement. So what we, and I think this will be no problem for you as a PhD candidate, that research proposal is quite an easy process, we would assume, for being a bright student. But nonetheless, that's why we would say that even if it's not, if you're admitted into program, you will have 4 weeks to submit at the RMIT admission stage. So that's why we would highly encourage you to already start thinking about it. Let's say if you are shortlisted for an interview and so forth, that it won't be something new for you. So it is recommended also to have something, especially because the evaluators will be evaluating how much you're motivated for the program, but also how much research you have been doing in the past. And I think it's a good way to showcase, especially if you don't have any, let's say, research component in your CV that is not strong enough, then I think the project proposal will be an additional value for you to showcase. Okay, yes, I think there was a question about, yes, a candidate saying, yes, that I will complete my degree by end of August. I won't be having a degree. And I think I answered a little bit before, but just to repeat again, so this will really depend. I don't want to say it will be up to you. The guideline, of course, the general rule is that you already have a degree by the time the call ends, which is April 30th. But if not, let's say you're graduating in the recent months, you can also apply. And you'll be giving a conditional eligible offer in case, let's say, your degree is pending. However, what we want to say is in the June and July stage, where the interviews are held and it is done, the supervisor would want to already give a position, let's say, in July, and it will be taking, let's say, a risk to offer to someone who hasn't been awarded yet. So it will be really decision made by the supervisors how strong your application is. So there is a high chance that they will say, no, there's another candidate, we want to go with them. Or if they say, no, actually, we want to really wait for this candidate to end, and then we can give a final official offer after you're done. So we will say we encourage you to apply, but it's just for the candidates who are still pending. It will be depending on the position, the supervisors, the host partners. So we won't be able to guarantee if they will be able to give you a conditional offer or not. Okay. Yes. I'm looking at, yep, some other questions. Yes, that we have some questions. I think most of them are published. There are some new questions. I think yes. So I think it's a question about a position with double university hosts. I'm not quite sure what you're referring to, but so the idea is that there's only one research host. So when you're applying for one position, it is the host university and there's RMIT Melbourne as a secondment. So when we're looking at actually the mobility route, we're not looking against your resident status in Australia. Actually, we had a question like this. So Australia will be a part of the program, but when we're assessing the Marie Curie mobility, it will not be against whether you have been Australia or not. It will be against the host partner residency. And this is clearly mentioned in the position descriptions that whatever it is, let's say the program is in CNAM in France or ICN2 in Spain or another program in Germany, we will be assessing if you have lived in, let's say, those countries. If you're applying for Germany, if you have lived in Germany for more than 12 months immediately before the call deadline, so within the past 3 years, basically. So this will be the criteria. We will not be assessing. So that there's no you will be. Most cases, you will be earning a double degree with RMIT and the host, and this will be really depends on the position. So please check once again. But what's important is that your main host location, the country, is what will be the main, let's say, residency for you. So in terms of work visas, too, it will be getting the work visa, let's say in Germany. And then Australia will be, depending on your nationality, it will be either a student study visa or travel visa, but the main work or student, the main location will be the host university or host institution. Yes, and I think there's a question about if any student is accepted, do you guys provide support for spouse visa as well? Actually, this question, I believe it will be covered in the position description. If not, it will really depend on the position. So we highly recommend you to read the position description and all the guidelines of what is covered, the costs and the fees. And if not, to let us know. I think, to be honest, I think we haven't, since the program hasn't started yet, as we know, this hasn't been a frequent asked question. But yes, please let us know. We'll be showing the contact us page in the next slide. So if you cannot find this information in the position description, nor the links that are provided in there from the host partner, because the host partner is usually the main employer that you've employed to, and then they will be providing also different benefits according to the position. So please read that, and if not, please reach out to us and we will check. Yes, there's another question. Yes, I think it was provided by my colleague. Let's see if there's something else that has not been covered. Yes. Let's see. I think there's other questions also that we want to make sure that it's covered. I think a lot of the questions really come from, I know there's a lot of English language, your academic transcript, but what we can say is that we will do, during the application stage, since we do have a lot of candidates with different, imagine from call one, we had over 65 nationalities of applicants. So if you can imagine that we have different candidates from around the world, different universities, different CV and everything. So sometimes it's really difficult for us to assess a candidate just with one sentence in one paragraph. So that's why we highly encourage you to first read the guide of applicants and the position description thoroughly to see if you're eligible. And it will really help us that, for example, if you're a researcher with 10 years of experience, you know the answer. And I think it is quite clear that there's unfortunately you're not eligible because you already have 10 years of research experience. Or let's say you have a PhD, or if you're in a PhD and you have, let's say 5-6 years, but you're already in a PhD program for 5-6 years. So I think that is quite clear in the case that you're not eligible for this program. So it will be helpful for us if you, let's say, assess that and not make an application in this case, or if you're not sure to reach out to us. But if you feel that you're confident that you have read everything, guide for applicants, and you are clearly eligible to make an application so that we make a full assessment. So we do try to say, yes, it seems from what you say you are, but the final answer, let's say, will not be given until you make the official application, because that's when we take our time to assess your documents, and then the evaluators also assess afterwards, and the interviewers as well. So during each stage, of course, even if you pass, there will be other elements that are being evaluated, interviewed as well. So until, let's say, you have the final offer, we will not be able to guarantee. That's why I mentioned admission stage. There is different components that they require you to have. So we want to make sure you read the position description carefully, because if you go down to each position description, there's a section on RMIT admissions criteria, host partner admissions. So don't just jump, look at the first page and just apply, but really read until the end, because there might be something that you don't fulfill and you are at the final process at the admissions only to find out that you're not eligible. So that's why we want to make sure that you read carefully on all these elements. Okay, I'm trying to see if there's anything else that could help the audience. I'm just also mindful of that time. I think we have still a few more minutes. Yes. So there's some question. Recommendation letters, are they required? So at the application stage, it is not one of the mandatory documents. If you have it already, you can upload as well. But yes, it will be required at the final stage, especially during the interviews. Some supervisor would like to ask this, and definitely at the admission stage. So at the call deadline, it is not required in order to be eligible. However, it will be necessary along the line. So it will be already a better idea to reach out to 2 of your professors or your supervisors at work, and to have already that, let's say, ready when it's ready to be interviewed for the REDI program, let's say. So yeah, the answer is not for the call deadline, but it will eventually be required. So we highly encourage that you have that in hand. Yes, is there something, any other questions? If not, we will be wrapping up shortly. Let's say. Yes, there's a question about, do I have to contact the supervisor before I submit the application? So actually, on the contrary, in a way that for any application questions about the REDI, we encourage you to direct to us and not the supervisor. As you can imagine, the supervisor, if they have hundreds of emails from applicants, because they are, professors, they're teaching, they have their own, let's say, research projects going on. So they will not be able to answer any of the application inquiries, let's say. So we actually prefer not, prefer that the candidates don't immediately ask the supervisor for any inquiries about the application. And nonetheless, of course, it really depends on the supervisors. I think if it's a project-specific question, let's say you want to work on this metal, some projects, and that you had this background, then you have some ideas. we also have supervisors that are fine. So I think that will be really up to the supervisors whether they respond to you. But if they don't, please don't get discouraged. The supervisors are very busy as well. So I imagine hundreds of applicants, not just from REDI, but from different programs contacting us. So any questions, please direct to us. And at the final stage, once you're selected, of course, then at the interview stages, you'll be able to interact with the supervisors and to get your questions answered during the interview. And if you're selected, to have many chances before the official enrollment. So for any application questions, please direct to us, not to supervisors, unless the supervisor, let's say if there's a specific question that is really very topic specific that we won't be able to answer. But yes, please don't expect immediately reply from the supervisors or even no reply. But that doesn't mean that you're not eligible or not. It just means that they're really busy. So until your application is at the interview stage or selected, we encourage you that you keep your contacts with us instead. Okay, I think we just have one more minute. Yes. Is that it? Yes, I'm just gonna also make sure that everything is covered. But yes, I think that's about it. But what we recommended is that please connect with us. Of course, you know our website, www.rediprogram.eu, but we also have a lovely Twitter and LinkedIn site, so please follow us there. We have many updates, information there. And as I said, please do read the guide for applicants, the FAQ question on our website, FAQ section on our website, and the position description. I think the position description is something that we really encourage you to read from top to bottom many times, because everything can mostly be answered there. So we encourage you to check out all this. And if you cannot find anything in anywhere, please do contact us at ready.help@rmit.edu@au. And as you can imagine, we have a lot of questions coming in from different candidates. So yes, I think, yes, we'll do our best to get back to you as soon as I can, so as soon as we can. So yes, thank you for joining today. I hope it was useful and that you got the information that you were looking for, and that now you're encouraged to gather your documents and to apply for REDI. So note that the deadline is April 30th. However, we encourage you to apply as soon as you can and not to wait until the last week, because there might be some documents that you realize you need. So just like in any case, don't wait until the last week or last day. So yeah, we encourage you to start the process now and to apply as soon as you can. So we look forward to receiving your application, and yes, hope to see you as a student, perhaps. So thank you again for joining. Bye-bye.